Hello YouTube, this is MC Unleashed, and this is my first video on what I hope to be many videos of Rome 2 Total War, a PC game that is coming out in 4 days. And I'm going to be doing a video on all the factions in this game and their abilities. So let's get started. Alright, so let's get started with Rome. Rome is divided into 3 factions, the Julia, Cornelia, and the Junia, and they all are very similar in that they have a backbone of infantry, like Hastati, Principes, and Troiarii. I don't think the cavalry are as good in Rome, but I do know that they are very well equipped and their units cost a lot more than most. They are very orderly, and it is important to, when you're playing as Rome, to keep the public order high and to keep them well organized. Their motto is strength, honor, and duty. And you're going to start out pretty early, and my advice would be to start out quickly before the other alliances gain strength and just hold back. So that's Rome. Next up we have Carthage, and they are very similar to in Rome 1, in that they are pretty tribal and easy to start out with, but this time there are 3 houses or 3 reigns that you can choose, different starting times, and they have different bonuses and such. And that's one thing I forgot to talk about when talking about Rome, is when you pick out a faction or a house, it'll give you different bonuses and drawbacks. Like House of Julii, public order is decreased, but you get increased diplomacy with the Greeks and 10% morale boost against barbarian tribes. But enough of that. Let's talk about Carthage. They're very spread out, and so you will definitely need to base your military on fleets. They have a pretty decent economy. That's kind of surprising because of their low amount of population, and it's very easy to draw the population one way to get them to love you or to get them to hate you. It's very easy to do that. I would suggest this faction to beginners. Now we are on to Macedon, which I believe will be one of my favorite factions. This is the result of everything that Alexander did, which happened 200 or 300 years before when this is taking place. They were pretty tough to conquer in Rome 1, and I know that their entire military is based on bowmen, horse archers, and spearmen, which is pretty newbie, pretty easy to use. So I would also suggest this to beginners. It's a lot like Greece. Now we have the Iceni. I don't really know how to pronounce that, but I know it is Britannica from Rome 1, and this faction is based on kind of like the Gauls, but more north. They have a great stable economy, so you won't really have money problems. and you also won't really have problems with the cost of any units or buildings because their whole military is based on war bands and chariots, which are pretty cheap. The only thing to worry about is Rome coming up, lots of diplomatic issues because Germany is basically guaranteed to go to war with you or to backstab you. Pretty simple, barbaric faction, and I know it was very fun to play in Rome 1. Now we are on to the Arverni faction. This is the Gauls from Rome 1. One of the hardest factions to play as. I was never able to beat the game with these guys. They have a pretty tough economy. I would say the only thing that they can fall back into is Spain, even though the Spaniards are very hard to conquer. It's very hard to get any sort of diplomatic power because everyone thinks that you're just a bunch of barbarians that know nothing. The Romans will sweep up on you Romans. The only thing you can really rely on is your public order and taking Spain pretty quickly. And basically their only unit is war bands. They don't have great morale in battles unless you have a lot more people than they do, or if you have big bonuses or something like that, because I remember in Rome 1 I would always lose battles as the Gauls because I would just hire warband after warband and send them in, and then they would get frightened or something and retreat, and then cavalry would kill them all or something like that. So I would not suggest this faction for beginners. Now we are into the Suebi faction. I have no idea how to pronounce that. I'll just call it Germanic tribes. It was one of the more fun factions to play as in Rome 1, and it will be pretty much the same in Rome 2. You can pretty easily become allies with Rome because Rome will not see you as a barbaric tribe at first. You can get some great units such as spear warbands, which are basically those phalanxes, just as effective. You can get moderate cavalry, you can get axemen, and I heard about some sort of witch, woman thing that is pretty pivotal in this, so that'll be fun. Now we are on to Parthia, one of the only factions that actually kept its name. This faction is extremely hard to manage unless you know what you're doing. Public order is very hard to maintain. Economy is pretty tough. You will get pounded by the Seleucids and the Scythians unless you make diplomatic alliances, which in this region usually don't last more than 2 or 3 years, and then they'll backstab you, which is a big pain. What I would suggest is going up north, and the only thing that you can rely on is horse archers. That is the only thing. I would make full armies of just horse archers. I would march them into battle and just destroy the other army, and then I would walk out with close to no casualties at all, and you can just sweep that way. But if you go too fast, then your economy will crumble. So it's very hard to obtain and manage. I'm excited to play as this faction in Rome 2. Egypt. It's very hard to play as and very hard to play against because you're pretty much caught in the middle of many things, including the Romans, the Seleucids, the Carthaginians. You don't really have that many bonuses of going with a naval fleet, because where can you go? But it's very hard to go anywhere with infantry or chariots or cavalry, whatever. March these huge distances. It's a bitch and a half to do. Economy is great until you start being attacked, and then it will quickly crumble. Defenses are not your strong point. Diplomacy with certain factions that are endangered can help you very much. Spearmen are not very good in Egypt. Chariots, cavalry, and straight up infantry are what's going to pull you through most battles and eventually help you conquer most of the world. And there are 5 more factions or sub-factions, whatever you want to call them, that'll wrap up real quick. There are the 3 Greek tribes or city-states, whatever you want to call them: Athens, Pyrrhus, and Sparta. They all 3 can use each other to fight off the Romans. Diplomacy with each other is what is going to help you win. You cannot attack each other because you'll just end up killing each other off with those phalanx formations. It is very easy to defend all your cities from any unit, basically, because you have the phalanx formations. One thing that I would do if you have phalanx formations is getting lots of archers in case they start pounding your phalanxes with catapults, lancer, cavalry, etc. In all of them, I would also have big fleets so that you can move around, take different islands, island hop. And now we have Pontus, from what I've heard, a very hard faction to play as. Cavalry is what's going to pull you through with them. It says Pontus is available free in content update from release day. I don't know what that means. I think get it one of the first days it comes out. There will be a lot of updates with this Rome 2 game. But yeah, cataphracts with Pontus are going to help you win. With the Seleucids, they are one of the easiest factions to win as. I love doing cheats with them on Rome 1. They have everything from great cavalry to cataphracts to elephants to silver shield swordmen, which are unstoppable, legions to phalanxes that are unstoppable, great archers and horse archers. They have everything, except they will get pounded by Egypt, pounded by Greece, pounded by Pontus. So it's pretty hard to defend. I would also suggest getting a strong fleet with them and island hop around so that you can maintain your diplomacy and your economy. You do make a lot of money from islands in this game. So anyway, guys, thanks for watching. This has been my first video on Rome 2. I will be making lots of them in the future, including Let's Plays, different strategies, battles, how to play, whatever. So thanks for watching. Please subscribe, and please watch my other videos on Rome 2. It'll be coming out in 4 days.